What is happening, people? Scarface First Look here, back on one of these weekly shows every Monday, 7:45 p.m. live on YouTube. Today is going to be an interesting one. A lot of controversy around the City game, a lot of talk. So we'll be getting into it. Also, be discussing Burnley, Spurs women, and a lot of other things. But today I'm joined by a fantastic panel. Firstly, Billy, how are you doing?
Yeah, very good, man. Very good. How are you doing?
Oh, very good, thank you. Thank you very much for coming on.
Anytime.
Once again, it's always good. So thank you for that. Luke, fellow host at Park Lane Podcast, how you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Two shows with you in 2 nights. Not often I come on your channel either, so no, it's good to be on
No.
and good to talk more Spurs.
Absolutely is. Thank you very much for coming on. And Seb, first time on the show. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Thank you very much for having me on. Yeah, I'm excited.
No worries. Thank you very much for giving me your time this evening. Before we crack into it, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It's free to do so and it helps the channel's content grow and improve. If you'd like to see it, smash the like button. Listen live on YouTube as well. Get involved in the comments below throughout today's show. Very keen to get your thoughts. But if you're listening on a podcast platform such as Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, don't forget to give us a follow and a 5-star review. But let's crack straight into it. And I will start with you, Billy. Thinking about before the Burnley game, about your lineup. What were your thoughts? Because you saw Skip come in for Emerson. Skip actually played that inverted left back role. Maddison also in for Benson. Course. Any surprises in there for you?
I'm not really surprised, but I think Skip was a big call. I predicted it before the game because I thought he had a better game than Royal did against Liverpool. And Andrew was talking about in the press conference they've been doing a lot of work on it in training. So, I was happy to see it. To be honest, is what I would have gone for as well. And then I think it was only a matter of time before Maddison came back in the team because I think, as this game showed, when he's on it, like he's one of our best players. So no surprises. So I was happy with the team really.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Thank you very much. Luke, where do you stand with the team? Do you expect Ange to go with Skip?
Yeah, as Billy said, kind of on a little pre-match video that I did put Skip as left back. But I think any person with kind of any common sense would see that he was much better than Emerson Royale in that game, and therefore it would be more obvious with how little games there are left in the season and how poorly he played. As Billy said, Maddison coming back in was probably the right thing to do, but it's like when Maddison plays so well, he's undroppable. But then when he's off it, he's really off it. So it's just hopefully over the summer and into next season, we'll see kind of a bit more consistency and see him a bit injury free.
Absolutely, I hope so. Seb, we'll come to you because Burnley took the lead in the 25th minute. So were you thinking kind of, here we go again, what we've seen in the last 4 games, we're going to lose again? Or were you always like, okay, it's not a good start, but we can come back into this? So what were your thoughts?
Yeah, it was kind of one of those where it kind of felt inevitable. We've been on top and then they came and scored the goal. And I was a bit worried at that point because obviously how the run of form that we've been on, we hadn't won in a while. So it's kind of like, did we have that mentality? Would it be here we go again? But we did respond well, actually. I thought we came back into the game where obviously you would have expected us to beat Burnley anyway. But there was definitely that feeling of here we go again when they scored the first goal.
Absolutely, there certainly was. And Billy, do you kind of echo that? There was that thought of, here we go again. Another game we're going to lose that we're expected to win. Or were you always like, come on, we're going to get back into this. It's Burnley.
Bit of both, really. Like I thought I was pretty uninspired in the first half. I thought we were pretty poor, and I thought we were a lot better in the second half. And when it's again, like so many teams it's very easy to cut through us, which I'm sure we'll see a lot tomorrow night as well. But it's just the same old stuff. Just an easy ball through the middle, completely cuts out our whole midfield defense. We've seen that kind of goal so many times this season. But I think we were a lot better in the second half. Thank God.
Yeah. Absolutely. We will get on to the second half. And Luke, were you under the same kind of bracket in terms of, it's not the start we wanted, but you had, was faith that we get back in the game?
Yeah, definitely always got faith that we could get back into games. The issue that I have this season is we either start really badly and concede first, or we start well and then we still concede first because we can't, keep it going. And that point that you made really about kind of like being cut open quite easily is it's a lot of it's all to do with our own downfall as well, though. A lot of it's trying to play a style of football that we just still don't have the players that can play. Passing the ball, pass across the edge of the box. Eventually, we're going to lose the ball, and that's what happens a lot of the time. We've seen it against other lower oppositions as well, like Luton. And just see people counter attack us, cut us open, and score. So that's something that we really need to work on, I think.
Absolutely. And Luke, staying with you, because Burnley didn't leave for long at all. They led for about 7 minutes because we made it 1-1. 32nd minute, it was Porro with an excellent strike. We saw him do it in the FA Cup against Burnley. For you, is it a case of a good goal? Was he just given too much space by Burnley, or maybe a bit of both?
Yeah, 100%. We mentioned it yesterday, and I just think Burnley are so naive. Like, they're in a game where if they lose, they're relegated, right? They're 1-0 up against Spurs. What do? They just don't close Pedro Porro down. They allow him space, and fair play to him. He just kept going and going and going, and then it was a good finish near post. Again, the keeper should do better. So I think you've got to look at a lot of Burnley errors in that goal, but well done for Pedro Porro for keeping going and scoring.
Absolutely. What do you make of Pedro Porro's goal, Seb?
It was a brilliant strike. I thought probably if that was the other way around, I probably would have been a bit disappointed with the goalkeeper letting one in at his near post like that. But I actually thought Porro lacked quite a bit of quality in the final third in recent weeks and before that and after that in that game. But I think that will do his confidence the world of good to score that goal. He's been shooting a lot this season and not many of them have gone in, but that was a brilliant finish.
Yeah, absolutely. Billy, do you feel the same in terms of it's poor from Burnley, but Porro still had a lot to do, and it's a tremendous strike.
Yeah, really, really good strike. Maybe keeper might be a bit annoyed that it's in the near post, but it's so hard that it's quite difficult to save. And I think we wanted to see a bit more of that from Pedro Porro this season. I think he's had a really good season overall. I think there was a stretch about a month or two ago where he was probably our best player, but he's I think the problem is we don't have any depth for him at all, so he's knackered. And it was good to see him back on the score sheet because he probably hasn't scored as many goals as he would like to this season because he's definitely got that in the locker.
Yeah, he absolutely has. I like him when he's in that forward position. I want him to overlap more as well when he isn't inverting. So I think, I absolutely agree with all of you on that. But Seb, I'll come back to you because at halftime it was 1-1. What were your overall thoughts on that 45 minutes? Were you not impressed with what you saw?
Nah, it was poor. It was quite uninspiring, and I really wanted to see a reaction that first half, and we didn't quite get it in the first half. But then, obviously, I expected changes. I expected Ange to get into them at half time. We did come out a lot better second half, but the first half, I just thought we were a bit slow. We looked tired still. We looked a bit leggy. There wasn't much flow to our game. I think Ange has been changing the team a lot. In the weeks before that, there hasn't been much consistency in team selection. I think that's been shown recently. I think it showed in the Burnley game as well, but obviously, he did sort things out the second half, but the first half was quite uninspiring.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people agree with you on that. Luke, I know again we did touch on it yesterday, but what do you make of that first half? Did you want to see more?
Yeah, I think you always want to see more, right? If your team goes in drawing against a team in the relegation zone, you want to come out and you want to be scoring first. You want to be 2-3-0 up at half time and then cruise and allow changes in the second half. Unfortunately, as it's going at the moment, we don't seem to allow that to happen. It seems to be that we have to go into half time. Whatever happens in the dressing room happens, and we come out fighting the second half. But we always leave ourselves, something to do. We're always leaving ourselves something somewhere. You don't see like Arsenal, for example. I use them as a prime example. Who go a couple of goals up at half time, and that's it. They're cruising. Then they've pretty much won the game and seen it out. Rather than we always need something, and someone needs to be inspired to kind of kick us on. But saying that, we have had a lot of injuries. Losing our two left back options and having to play central midfielder at left back, losing Timo Werner, as much as there's a debate about whether we should sign him or not. Losing him as an impact player to come on, losing Richarlison just after he played so well against Liverpool. It hasn't been easy for us this season, but it's not been easy for anyone.
No, it hasn't been. Exactly. It's been overall in the Premier League a big season for injuries. Newcastle, Man United, even Liverpool. There's been Chelsea. There's been injuries everywhere you look. Obviously, we've been club with a lot of them. We're getting more now, a lot in training as well. So I'm absolutely with you on that. Billy, were you there on Saturday? And if so, what do you make of that first 45 minutes?
I wasn't actually there on Saturday. It's the first home game I've missed in a long time. If I was away with my family, but yeah, it was a bit frustrating. I watched it all on TV, and we didn't seem that fluid. And I think it was only really the second half that we got going.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, complete agreement with that. Billy, I'll stay with you actually because going deeper into the second half. 75th minute, we saw the changes. We saw Bentancur, Scarlett, and Dragusin all come on. Should the changes have come a bit earlier for you? Because you've got to 75 minutes. It's still 1-1. Because I expected us to come out the second half and score or be even better than we were, if you like. So those changes for you, obviously, we know the outcome now. Well, assuming you all do. But at the time, were you thinking the subs were made too late?
Possibly, but then the way it turned out, like, I think, and I kind of get this feeling as well. I think when we're behind in a game, like, I think it's the last 10 minutes which Ange really goes for it, and that's when it really kicked off for us, and we started to turn out chance after chance after chance. So I think, in hindsight, because we won after the subs, and the subs all made a pretty decent impact, you have to say they're the right time. But I think as fans, we can feel like there has to come on earlier, but I think Ange is very happy to sort of let them play it out, and then they'll really go for it for the last 10, 15 minutes of stoppage time, like we see, time and time again, which is why we score those late goals quite often.
Yeah, absolutely. Luke, I'm actually interested to see your thoughts on this. What were your thoughts at the time when those substitutions were made? When you saw the likes of Scarlett, Dragusin come on. Any surprises in there for you? And would you have made them earlier if you were Ange Postecoglou?
The thing is, we don't really have the choices, right? I'm just looking at the bench now. And apart from that, we're looking at Brandon Austin, Emerson Royale, Brian Hill, and Mikey Moore. Like, that's all that's left on our bench. So I'm not surprised he made those substitutions. But the thing is that Ange banks on fitness, right? So he banks on being able to keep going until whether it's the 95th, 96th minute, and Burnley will be tired, but we won't, and we'll be able to keep going. So, maybe he does bank on as well the fact that there's going to be added time on it in the games. It's not just going to be 90 minutes. Like, we look at it 75 to 90, right? So you're looking at 15 minutes, to go. Could be another 5-7 minutes in that game. So you could be looking 20, 25 minutes of football that these players have. But as I said, we don't really have a choice, right? Giovanni Lo Celso, Højbjerg, Scarlett, Bentancur, and Dragusin that come on. Like, doesn't really sit there and think this team could, these players could come on and win a game for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And when those substitutions were made, Seb, it saw Van der Ven go to that left-back role. And that leads me on to my next point, because in the 82nd minute, Van der Ven, with what was a lovely goal in that position, it was like a forwards finish, wasn't it? So what did you make of it?
He is some player. He's so good. I reckon if we had 11 Van der Vens, we'd be a much better football team. But, that finish was like, it was Harry Kane-esque, the way he just opened his body up, put it in the bottom corner. I was surprised. I didn't know he had that in him. Obviously, we saw a goal against Nottingham Forest, was it, where he kind of smashed it in? But that was unreal. And I thought he played really well when he came into the left back spot. I thought there was another time where he kind of made an overlapping run with his pace and he whipped the low ball in. And there were signs there when he moved to left back. I think it improved us. And he's just honestly an unbelievable footballer, and what a finish.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, Seb, for you, should he start left back in the last two games we've got? Obviously, don't want to get on the team deeply for City, Sheffield United, etc. But should he start those games at left back for you?
I think he should be benched for the Man City game. But then, no, I'm joking. No, he should probably start left back for us from now on. I think till the end of the season. I think it's just a case of anyone but Emerson Royale in that left back role at the minute. Skip, I thought, was okay. He showed a bit of naivety for the first goal in that position. So I do think Van der Ven is our best option there, and I've been kind of saying that since the doggy got injured. I think Van der Ven is the best shout there, and I'd like to see more of Dragusin, and that gives Dragusin obviously the chance to start as well. So that would probably be my preferred way of setting up that defence.
Yeah, no, absolutely fair enough. Billy, again, the goal we saw from Van der Ven, was it like a striker's finish, if you like? Why can't our forwards do that?
Yeah, it was almost like a Haaland. It looked like Haaland, like the way that he opened up his body and like curled it into the corner. It was a really, really good finish. And I echo what has just been said. I think he's just an exceptional all-round footballer. Like, there's nothing he can't do. He can dribble the ball, dribble out from the back. He can run back and make a tackle. He's got the good, decent range of passing. He can finish. Yeah, he's just an exceptional footballer, and I think we're really, really lucky to have him, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, same question to you, Billy, in terms of should he play left back now to the end of the season, 2 games to go?
I think that's a really tricky one, because Ange afterwards said he doesn't play him there because it's the strain on his hamstring that he's worried about. So obviously he'd have to do a lot more running. And I think it's a tricky one because he is one of the best centre backs in the league, and you're automatically shooting yourself in the foot if you're moving one of the best players in their position in the league out of position. But I wouldn't mind doing it for the last couple of games of the season, just because I think, as you just said, it's only right for Dragusin, who's been probably underplayed a little bit and a bit unlucky. And I think if we play him, if he gets 2 starts, he'll be going into pre-season feeling a lot better than he would if he was on the bench again. So it's not something I'd like to do long term because he's one of the best centre backs in the league and will be one of the best centre backs in Europe in no time. So, but yeah, I'd definitely like to see it for the next 2 games for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Luke, what do you make of the goal? And Billy mentioned the name there, like Haaland-esque, was it for you? And our forwards, just why aren't they doing that and taking that responsibility?
Yeah, I think I said it yesterday as well. I think technically it's probably one of the best goals that we've scored this season. And I genuinely believe that from not only like technical ability. Now, look, we all know that Van de Ven's only got left foot, right? So whether he's scored like that because that's the only way he knows how to shoot his left foot, so how can I get it on my left foot? Or whether it's kind of something that he's got in his locker, I don't know. But that inward run, that inverted run is exactly what an inverted fullback should do. It's just that ours do it like about 50 meters earlier, so they cut in straight away rather than he's come in late and made that inverted run. And it's just, as you say, it's sensational. The touch, the weight of touch is perfect, so it gets him just out of his feet, but gives him enough time to get his body moved around. And we have seen him score a couple of goals this season, but I also remember the goal he scored against Liverpool, which was obviously ruled out in the end, was again another quick finish that came to him, and he slotted it home. His finishing is pretty good for a big guy as well. I think it was a really, really good goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, the same question to you, Luke. Do you want to see him play that left back role more often?
I still think that he could suffer in that role at times, just on the basis that I feel like there's still a part of his game, like his touch, because he's so tall, that could let him down in intricate moments. Where there's a lot of passing out the back, the ball gets played in, it gets played into midfield. He makes a run. How everybody moves and passes the ball, but I don't see him not being able to do it. And I don't see why not. Like, Billy made a really good point about Dragusin, and that's that, he needs some game time because otherwise he's going to be a very unhappy player. And the thing is, you need good quality players in this side, but you also need them to have some game time, and he had none. So if he gets, as you say, 2 90-minute games or at least 2 starts at the end of the season, then why would he not be, happy and see himself potentially, moving into that team?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm in full agreement with you on that. Seb, I'll come back to you actually, because it did end 2-1 Spurs. Did we deserve it overall for you?
Yeah, I thought we definitely deserved it overall. I think we had over 20 shots in the game. Burnley only had 7. So I think definitely on the balance of play, we deserved it. And yeah, I think the second half especially, I always felt like the goal was coming in the second half. Obviously, after we scored the first, you felt like, we were creating a lot of chances. I think we were being quite wasteful at points. I think Brennan Johnson, I think Sonny was quite wasteful as well. But I always felt a goal coming. Obviously, I didn't expect it to come from Mickey van der Ven in that way. But after we scored the goal as well, we could have gone 3 or 4-1 up at the end there. And it was definitely a deserved win, I think, on the balance of play.
Yeah, fair enough. Billy, again, did we deserve the win? But also for you, was it a case of we just had to get back to winning ways after 4 defeats? It just didn't matter how.
Yeah, definitely. I think we did deserve the win because I thought in the second half in particular we were carving out a lot more chances, and we could have scored a few more at the end. So yeah, I definitely think we deserved the win overall. It wasn't a vintage performance by any means, but I think at this time of the season, it's just the only thing that matters is results really. And yeah, I just kind of feel like if we had have lost that Burnley game, then this Man City game would have been a very different prospect to what it is now. Because we've pretty much nailed on 5th place. We'd have to not get a point against Sheffield United to not finish 5th now. So I think we can, and I know we'll talk about this a bit more detail in a minute, but I think it completely changes the complexion of that Man City game because if we'd lost 5 on the bounce, then going into Man City, it would have been a very different kind of feeling. So yeah, we had to get the win, and luckily we did.
Yeah, absolutely. And Luke, did we deserve it for you? And again, the same question that I asked Billy. Was it a case of we just have to win? The last few weeks haven't been good enough. It was just about getting the result and sealing 5th place, which I think we've pretty much done.
Yeah, I want to kind of agree with both of them, to be honest, because Seb mentioned about the amount of shots that we had. I think we had 9 shots on target out of those 20. And an XG of over 2, not that, you pay much attention to that, but it's good to see the stats go in the favour of the result. But, I think you've always got to get a result in that game, not only because, as I've said all night, that it was against a side in the relegation zone, but also, like as you said, Billy, if we go into that Man City game and we lose that, that's in 6 games in a row. We're then to the last game of the season to keep, to stay in 5th place potentially. And so it's just really important that you get a win. We can go and relax against Man City. Like, I think top 4 is done. I think that we won't get top 4. I don't think we should get top 4. I think that it could be more detrimental than it's worth being in the Champions League next season. We're not ready. I think a season in the Europa League wouldn't do us any harm at all. So yeah, we needed that win. We got the win, and that's all that matters.
But Luke, what about if I told you that Villa are currently losing to Liverpool and conceded in the first minute? Would that change your complex for you?
No, not at all.
No.
Weeks ago, I said I don't think we're ready for the Champions League, and I think Europa League is the place that we need to be. Like, it's all good and well, like being in the Champions League, and that's great. But when we don't get out the group stage, there's going to be more complaints from our fan base. There's going to be more issues that become of it. Why not have a good run, get out of the group stage, get into the quarterfinals, semi-finals of the Europa League next season, build a team that can compete in these things, and then go the season after? Like, a rebuild doesn't happen overnight, right? A rebuild doesn't happen, in 5 minutes. Like, we can't rush it either. And as much as Anne says, we need to finish as high as we can. We need to always try and win. We need to do all of these things.
We get on to Adj's comments.
That is great, and I respect that, and I love Ange Postecoglou. But at the same time, you have to be realistic about it. It's very similar to like looking at Liverpool and Arsenal. With Mikel and Jurgen Klopp, they had very similar runs where they didn't have a European thing. They went into Europa League and then they progressed from there. I think it could be detrimental if we try and go too far too soon.
No, I think that's a very good point, to be honest with you. Before we move on to Manchester City, I want to go over a few individual performances, and we'll start with a comment that was actually put in the chat from regular on the show, Travis, and it's about Dragusin, so which is quite interesting. So Billy, I'll come to you first. What did you make of Dragusin's 20-minute spell, if you like, against Burnley?
Yeah, I think obviously against Burnley, he's not going to be like the most defensive test that he's ever going to get, but I thought he looked really good. He looked comfortable on the ball. Yeah, and it's good to see him. I think he's definitely deserved more minutes. He's just unfortunate that he's behind, 2 undroppable players in Romero and Van de Ven, who just, they're not getting drops in any stretch of the imagination for any scenario, really, because they're 2 of the best centre backs in the league. So I think he's really unlucky. It's just one of those things, though, like, what more could he possibly do to get minutes? Like, there's nothing. He's just, reality is of this situation that he's going to, until we're in Europe playing multiple games a week, he's not going to get any minutes. So it was good to see him finally get his chance, and he looked pretty good, looked pretty comfortable, yeah.
Yeah, he did, yeah. And Seb, Billy raised it there, kind of. Does he deserve more minutes for you, or is he just never going to get there with the centre-back partnership we've got?
Yeah, I think he'd have been naive to kind of expect to come into Spurs this season, bearing in mind the centre-halves we have, and expect to start too many games. I think this season was kind of about him getting bed into the club, getting to know Ange Postecoglou's style of play and all that. And then next season, like Billy said, when we're in Europe, he will get a lot more opportunities. Naturally, I'm sure Romero will get injured at points for Mickey van der Ven as well. So he'll definitely get his opportunities. I think he's got to be patient. I don't think all the talk from his agent has helped anything at all, to be honest. I think Dragusin hasn't come out and said anything. He seems quite happy when he gets on the pitch. So, and he does look confident when he gets on. So I'd like to see him start, but at the same time, he can't really have many complaints if he's not starting this season. But next year, he'll definitely get his opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Seb. And Luke, again, Dragusin, 20-minute spell. What did you make of it? And does he deserve more minutes for you?
Well, no one deserves minutes, right? So you have to obviously earn your minutes. How do you earn your minutes? Well, it's really difficult when you've got, as I've said, 2 of the best centre-backs in the league. The thing is what I want to see, right, is I want to see us, and I hated watching Antonio Conte football, right? But I want to see us play with a back 5. I think that play with a back 5 and play Dragusin on the right, Romero in the middle, Van der Ven on the left will allow the inverted fullbacks, now bear with me, to then be able to come inverted and us to be able to be counter-attacked less. It means that when that happens, the centre-backs can spread out and cover pretty much the width of the pitch. It would make us less, likely to concede goals on the counter-attack. I think it would give him a lot more minutes as well. I just think it would really work, but don't think we'll ever see it because that's just not the system that and Postecoglou plays, even though it would kind of solve all problems, really, I think.
Yeah, I think it would as well. Another individual I want to talk about, and I'll come to you, Billy, is Kulusevski. What do you make of his performance against Burnley? Obviously, we've already discussed the forwards a little bit in the show, but he played left and right at times. What do you think of him?
I thought it was really disappointing against Burnley, and I think he's in a really bad run of form at the moment. I'm just really, as we approach, obviously talking about the squads for next season, I don't see him fit as an Ange winger. I really don't. I think if anything, he's better centrally in the 10 role. He just doesn't seem to have the qualities that we need in that place. Like he doesn't beat his man. He's more of a, he's a very technical player, really good passer of the ball, and can hold up the ball really well, and is really good defensively and has a lot of work rate and stuff. But I think with Ange, it's all about getting to the touchline and cut back for the striker in the middle, and it's not something that Kulusevski seems to do that much. But so I think it'll be interesting to see how he features next season, because I find his performances on the wing under Ange a bit uninspiring, to be honest.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I personally completely agree, and I think that he has been below par, and I don't think he suits the system. Luke, I don't know, I don't think we discussed it that much. Kulusevski, where do you stand on him, and also his performance against Burnley?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because he doesn't really set a game alight. He's not electric. He's not got electric pace. He's good on the ball, but I think when he's off, he looks really off. I think that is affected by the fact he plays as a winger and he's not that fast. But again, in the kind of build up to the game, I mentioned about Kulusevski playing on the left. That was before, obviously, I knew that Richarlison was injured. So, but I feel like him playing on the left should suit him better, because he's got left foot, and it means he doesn't cut inside and have a shot on his left foot as much. But he does seem to struggle when he's played out of position. I don't really know why that was the thought. I'm supposed to Postecoglou. Maybe it's that Brennan Johnson has played well on the right, because we've seen Brennan Johnson play a lot more on the left than we've seen Kulusevski play on the left under Ange. But look, I think it is what it is. I think it's getting to the end of the season. We can't really blame tiredness, but I'm trying to find some excuse as to why he's not been performing, because he's not been great this season.
No, so he certainly has been. Seb, obviously your first time on the show, and we haven't discussed it. How do you feel about Kulusevski in the season he's had?
I find it really difficult with Kulu, because obviously I absolutely love him. I think kind of that first period when he came in, he did like taking on his man a lot more. He was a lot more exciting than he is kind of now. And it's hard to put a finger on what's really gone wrong with him. I think a lot of it does come down to the system. I'm not sure him and Pedro Porro see each other massively playing on the same side. I think, Pedro Porro likes to come inside quite a lot, and I think the same with Kulusevski. So it's a strange one. I think he looked better out on the right-hand side against Burnley. He was not it on the left-hand side. It just didn't suit him at all. So it's strange. I really, really wanted to work out with him, but it is worrying me, because these performances have been going on for quite a long time now, and there haven't been many kind of positives to take from his season, really. So it does worry me slightly, but, I still love him, and I still hope he succeeds under Ange. I'm sure he'll get a chance to prove that next season.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Billy, I'll come to you. Talk to me about Kulusevski in the season he's having, if you like. But also, I'm going to be quite blunt here. Should we listen to offers for him in the summer? Or do you just think that overall, he's great caliber of player, he's just not performing at the moment?
Yeah, I probably would not listen to offers for him at the moment, just because we're going to play a lot more games next season, and we're at a time when we want to be building a squad, and Kulusevski he's definitely got enough qualities to be part of a squad that's, in the Europa League next year, and hopefully pushing for more. So I think if an offer came in, it wouldn't be the easiest situation, because I think there's a reasonable argument to say you should accept it. But personally, I would definitely keep him, because we've seen what a brilliant player he is, and I absolutely love the guy as well. I think he's a brilliant personality. He seems to love it here. Fans love him, so I think I'd definitely keep him around for sure.
Yeah, I think Fred makes a good point in the YouTube chat. He says, for me, his injury knocked his form and confidence. Would you agree with that, Luke?
Yeah, I would do. But then, if you remember, I think it was last season when he got an injury and then he came back against Liverpool. I felt like he played really well in that game. And so I agree with Seb, though. I think that there's something going on with his game. He looked to take the man on a lot more, because even though he's not, lightning quick, what he does have is strength. So he's able to go past a man, hold the ball up, lay players off. It's really tricky. Whether it's the fact that we don't shoot as much, the fact that there's a lot more passing, waiting for the moment, waiting for the right pass to make. Maybe it's that's confusing him. Maybe it's the fact he's played multiple positions. The fact that he's played in the number 10, he's played out on the right, he's played out on the left, and as we've said quite a lot, there are a few players in this team whereby we don't, or Ange doesn't really know where they're suited best, who they're suited best with alongside. I think you're right. I think that Pedro Porro and Brennan Johnson play a lot better than Pedro Porro and Kulusevski.
Okay, fair enough. And now I'm going to go around the panel and ask for your player of the match. So be thinking about that now. And Seb, I'll come to you first. You haven't given you much time to think, so I do apologise for that. But who would be your player of the match?
Oh, it would be Mickey van der Ven for me. I think he was the definite standout. I thought Romero was also really good next to him again. I thought Bissouma was also, looking closer to that kind of level that we've been expecting of him based off the start of the season. So, yeah, Van der Ven, but Bissouma is probably my shout-out from the game.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. By the way, I think Byron makes a good point in terms of, it's the whole attack generally and not just Kulusevski for me. I think Kulusevski is the common one who gets it. Because he's in the team a lot, shifting positions. But I generally think that all our forwards aren't performing at the moment, and includes the likes of Son, as much as and I and several others really do like him. Billy, who would be your player of the match?
Van der Ven also, but I would want to shout out James Maddison as well because I thought he was looking much more like his older self. And I
second half, I thought he was better in second half.
Yeah. And I saw a compilation doing the rounds yesterday of his performance, and he seems to be playing a lot deeper. I don't know if that's a tactical thing. But he looks, he was definitely making a lot more happen, which is what we want to see from him. But yeah,
he plays better when he gets more of a free roaming role.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When he's allowed to drop deep and then he can come forward. He isn't confined to that. He likes to be on the ball. I think when he gets frustrated on the ball and he doesn't get the ball or he makes a bad pass, he really does get his head down, and then it's hard for him to then pick back up again.
Yeah, and I think it'd be interesting to see maybe if there is a consideration of him playing in the 8 role rather than the 10 role, because he looked pretty good when he goes deep. So yeah, it was good to see him back yesterday. Got an assist as well. But Van der Ven definitely the standout player for me again. He's just been brilliant all season. He's rightfully voted Player of the Year, which I think, even though I personally voted for Romero, I think definitely can't begrudge Van der Ven.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I personally vote Romero, but I think Van der Ven completely deserves it, and we saw that yesterday. It's not just a defensive shift; it's getting forward, taking responsibility, and ultimately delivering for the team when we needed it most. As we got towards the latter stage of the game, we needed the win. Luke, have you got anyone different for your player of the match, or we're going to make it 3 Van der Vens?
No, definitely 3 Van der Vens. I think you can't take away from the match winner. Taking the game by the scruff of the neck, scoring the winning goal. And also the fact that he was playing out of position at the same time as well, played the full game, 2 separate positions. I think you'd be crazy to vote for anybody but Van der Ven for player of the match.
What are you trying to say? Yeah, no, fair enough. I actually thought you were going to say be crazy to vote for a player of the year, anyone but Van der Ven. But no, I'll take that back. And I think Byron makes a good point. Romero deserves an honourable mention. I thought that he was very good yesterday, along with Van der Ven. And we're talking about 2 players that, when others have hid behind players or hid behind things, they've stepped forward and ultimately delivered. Because there are a lot of Newcastle, for example, a lot of players hiding. But ultimately, them 2 always step up, even if they're not their best. They can hold their hands up when they're not playing well and generally consistently perform. So I think that's amazing. But we will move on to Manchester City. So I think there's a lot to talk about here. Luke, I'll start with you. How are you feeling ahead of the game, and who do you want to win? The ultimate question.
Well, look, we talked about it a lot yesterday, and of course I want Spurs to win, deep down, right? But I also don't want Arsenal to win the league, and I think that it would be madness to want us to beat City in a game where I feel like we still won't get top 4. I don't know. I'm to be honest, I'm too confused about the whole situation. I was pretty done with the league at the weekend. I felt like it was a nice sunny day. We got a win. Let's just end the league there and let's all go off into the summer and live happy lives. But unfortunately, we do have to play Man City, and then we've got to play Sheffield United. Look, who do I want to win? Spurs. Who do I think is going to win? City.
So you want Spurs to win now? That's not what you were saying yesterday.
look, I think, as I said, deep down, you always will want your team to win, but there's no way in a million light years that I'd ever want Arsenal to win the Premier League. And if that's the case, that us losing to them means Arsenal don't win it, then so be we don't win that game.
Okay, so you're quite flexible with what it looks like. Okay, fair enough. Seb, how are you feeling about tomorrow? I don't know why. I'm just extremely nervous because you more than I am for something like the North London Derby. It doesn't quite feel right. But who are you supporting? And is it quite a simple decision for you?
Yeah, it's quite simple for me, to be honest. I will be supporting Manchester City tomorrow. I'm not supporting them is the wrong word, but I could not bear the thought of us beating Manchester City and basically giving Arsenal the chance to win the game, to win the league on the final day of the season, because that's kind of the situation now. They've got to beat Everton at home, which they will do. So I couldn't really bear the thought of that. And it's a shame because I think we still got a chance at top four. Obviously, Liverpool are beating Aston Villa right now, and they've got Crystal Palace.
1-1, I think. I think it's 1-1.
1-1.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, even if they draw or lose, we've still got quite a realistic chance of top four, which is a shame to kind of not want to get. But I don't know. I feel so weird about it. I have no idea. I'm gonna have no idea how I feel watching the game, but I don't want us to win. To be honest, I think it'd be a worse feeling if we won than if we lost. For me.
Yeah, no, fair enough. It thought of gifting Arsenal. Not only, Arsenal winning the title is one thing, but gifting it on a plate, so fine dined is a complete other thing. But Billy, how do you feel? I've got a feeling, I don't know what tells me, but it's a fairly simple choice for you, and it is in Manchester City's favour.
It's definitely in Manchester City's favour. Yep. I have a ticket for tomorrow. I've got my season ticket. I'm probably not going to go just because I just think the whole thing's going to be awkward. I might not even watch. Like, it's a horrible situation for fans to be in, to have to choose their own club versus their rivals. Personally, I can't have Arsenal win the league. I can't do that. It's the ground zero for me. It's the worst possible situation. And I can't stomach it. So I'm thinking of just removing myself altogether from the situation, not even watching, just not getting involved. If anyone wants my ticket, feel free to just message me on Twitter. You can definitely have it for free. So it's just a really horrible situation to be in. It's not fair. It's not fair that this has happened to us, and it's now our responsibility. Like, we're not involved in this title race anymore. So why are we still, our names are the ones that's coming up. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to it at all. It's just going to be so weird, right? It's going to be a really weird situation for everyone involved.
Yeah, very weird. A quick update for everyone listening live on YouTube. Liverpool have taken the lead again. So it does make it interesting because I think a lot of people are influenced in terms of the Villa result. I mean, I am, to be honest with you, fully behind City in terms of I can't get my head around gifting Arsenal the title, but Liverpool do lead. So that, for some people, it does make it interesting. Next, though, I do want to go on to Postecoglou's comments. So people didn't see it. Just a quick snapshot of it. He's saying here, if you're going by social media, then 99% of them will want Spurs to lose, talking about Spurs fans. But please don't tell me that's your world. If it is, you need counselling. I understand rivalry, but I'll never understand anyone wanting their own team to lose. Billy, what do you make of those comments? Because he has a job to do at the end of the day, right? Him and the players have a job to go out there and win. But are his comments justified, which for me feels like a personal attack on fans?
I do think they're justified because I don't think there's much else you can say as manager of a football club. You can't, you can't possibly allude to wanting to lose a match in the Premier League or something like that. It would completely throw the whole thing into disrepute. So, I think it's just a really difficult situation for everyone involved, and I think that anything that he could have said would have been picked apart in some way because there's no right or wrong answer for this situation. It's an awful situation for the club to find themselves in.
Yeah, absolutely. Luke, I'm actually interested to get your thoughts on it and Ange Postecoglou's comments because I totally get where he's coming from. I'm someone who always wants to put your club first and always put yourself before your rivals. But for me, I just feel it's a situation we've got really nothing to play for, realistically. So where do you feel with Ange Postecoglou's comments, and are they justified?
Look, I think, any of us that work for a company, right? You have to do what you have to do or say what you have to say to, save face in your own job, right? And to be respectful of your employer. And that's all he's had to do there. He had to say, look, we will go out and we will win this game. He couldn't do it he couldn't say the other way around anyway, because as Billy said, he took the game into disrepute. And also, he can't stand there and say, I'm going to make my team lose, because at the end of the day, there's players that are probably on performance bonuses for wins. There's lots of things that go into this that we don't know about. It's a press conference as well. He has to say what he has to say, and I don't think there's anything wrong with what he said. I think anyone that takes it the other way is, I don't know what to call them, to be honest, but it's just not the right thing to do. He has to say, what he has to say. I pretty much rambled there, but
that's all right. Seb, how do you feel about Ange's comments?
Yeah, I think Billy said it perfectly. Like, he's in an impossible situation. Like, whatever he says there is going to be taken right in the wrong way by some people, and I think he summed it up perfectly. I mean, he's got a job to do. The players have a job to do. And at the end of the day, they'd probably rather get Champions League football and Arsenal win the league. So obviously they're further in their careers there. He's going to be managing in the biggest competition, potentially. And that's how he'd look at it. And he wants to win any game possible. And yes, it's a challenge for him. It's a challenge for the players to play against Pep Guardiola, Man City, and they're obviously going to be up for that and want to win that regardless of how we feel. Because at the end of the day as well, fans are always going to feel stronger towards Arsenal than the manager and the players, because we're fans of the club and we kind of had that fan interaction. So, yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with what he said, and he kind of had. I'll kind of be worried if he didn't say that, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, no, it's true. He has a job to do at the end of the day. When I initially saw it, I was like, what? But I think a bit of context, you watch the whole video, you watch what he's talking about, and what was I say? He's right, but in his position, it's just what you would do, I think. But Luke, I'll come back around to you, because regardless, it's the same for anyone. What we want the outcome to be, Luke said Spurs, you two have said City. But if you were Ange Postecoglou and fully focused on the game, what would your lineup be for obviously the benefit of Spurs?
Probably. Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, you go first.
That's my bad. Sorry. Go on, you go first, Luke.
Yeah, sorry. So if I'm Ange Postecoglou, probably wouldn't go too dissimilar to who played against Burnley. If I'm going to be myself, then I'm going to say it's pretty much a throwaway game. If we win, we win. If we don't win, doesn't matter. I would give loads of people games. I would probably put Mickey van der Vel on the left, Dragoshin centre back. I would probably play Dane Scarlett up front, put Son over onto the left. Something along those lines I would probably do, but it's not going to happen. He's probably going to go with a very similar lineup to that played against Burnley, and he'll try and win the game because that's who he is.
Yeah, and you've got to remind that it's the winning mentality. We want it installed at our football club. We want that professionalism, as Barney says in the chat there. That's what we want around the football club. So we can't have it both ways, and you can't expect him to go, we're going to roll over for Man City, because you just not. He's getting paid. It's his job, and ultimately, you put the team first, because you just don't know. Because I think Villa, Palace, they have on the final day. Palace in prime form. They probably lose tonight against Liverpool. You just don't know what can happen. We don't know. He won't want to miss out on top four, which is for him bragging rights compared to fifth. It's a big jump up for everyone associated with the club. I completely agree with Luke. I don't think we're ready for Europa League, but you wouldn't turn down fourth at the same time. You wouldn't turn down playing Champions League football. So for me. But Billy, we'll come to you. Now, your lineup, what would you do? Obviously, you're like me, you want City to win. But if you did want Spurs to win, what would be the strong lineup you go with?
I agree with Luke, to be honest. I would pretty much start the team that finished against Burnley. So I think I would start Dane Scarlett, because Son as a number 9 is just not working under any circumstance at the moment. And when he went to the left wing, he looked a lot better. And I just think having like a natural number 9 there was pulling defenders away. It was creating a lot more space in the box. And when Scarlett came on, he didn't have many chances himself, but it was definitely intelligent movement. It was creating a lot of chances for others. So I'd pretty much start the team that finished the game against Burnley.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Seb, what would your team be?
I think similar, but I think the keys for me are Lo Celso. I'd love to see Lo Celso get a start. I think he deserves it, and it could potentially be the last home game that he plays for Tottenham, because I think he will obviously be moved on in the summer. I think Dane Scarlett, it'd be cool to see him have a game up front, to start a game up front. I don't think it will happen. So probably Brennan Johnson on that left hand side for me, and then Kulu on the right hand side. I think Sonny, could suit playing the number 9 against City, just because obviously of how they set up, but. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a weird one. I would probably just go with the team that finished, and the keys for me are Lo Celso and Scarlett. I'd love to see get an opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Byron says Europa League will be better chance for other squad players to be used, gain more experience, we have a chance to win it. Champions League will just be participants. I do agree. To be honest with you, I think that I as a kid, you know, to thought of being in the Champions League, I think is fantastic. However, we're being realistic. It is just to participate. It's the Champions League money, Europa League. We want to progress, be strong. So in that aspect, you would want Europa League. But whether it's fourth or fifth, I'm always going to lean towards the best of my club fourth. But I totally get where people like Byron, Luke, I totally get where you're all coming from. But next, I want to move on to predicted scores, and this could be interesting. And I'm going to kick it off with you, Luke. Usually the positive one, not with your score prediction yesterday. Have you lightened up a little bit?
No. I'm not going to change my mind.
No?
You know, I'm a man of my word, and I'm sticking by
Fair
it.
enough.
So, Spurs 0, Man City 3.
Have you ever predicted us to lose this season? Just to give people some context.
No, not
you
at
haven't.
all. Not a single game have I predicted us to lose. But probably very rarely have I predicted us to draw. I'm very positive when it comes to scorelines. Arsenal, Liverpool never predicted us to lose, but not even predicting us to score a goal tomorrow.
Wow, there you go. Let's just say something. Wow, Blue Moon's got to you. There we go. Seb, I'll come to you. What do you think the score's going to be?
Yeah, probably along similar. To be fair, I'll probably go 2 or 3-1 to Man City. Probably 3-1. I think they will have too much quality for us. I can see us scoring a goal. I can see us making it maybe interesting for the first 60, 70 minutes. But I mean, they're on an absolute roll at the minute. You know, City are at the end of the season, and I fully expect them to turn up and do the business tomorrow, regardless of how everyone thinks. I think it's going to be a bit of a one-sided affair.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got 3-1s in the chat, so do get your comments in if you're listening live. So yeah, we've got 3-1 there. We've got 3-0 City. Billy, what do you reckon? Any chance for Spurs? I mean, also, you don't want it, but can you see Spurs getting something from it? Because I can picture it.
Yeah. I mean, we have a hoodoo over them, which is weird to say because they're the best team in the world. But I think it's going to be high scoring tomorrow because even when if you look at the Liverpool and the Arsenal game, we still managed to score 2 goals against both of them. So I think it'll be 4-2 Man City. But it wouldn't surprise me if we won tomorrow, just because it's exactly the kind of thing that we would do. To be honest, it would be very, very much like us to go and beat them tomorrow.
It would be absolutely like us. I also going 3-1 City as well. I think the quality will shine through, but I think we will give it a good fight. But yeah, we'll just have to see how tomorrow unfolds. But who knows? I think it'd be nice when it's done, over with, and we can move on to Sheffield United and then eventually think about next season. Before we get on to Spurs women, any questions that people put forward for the podcast and an FPL update as well? I want to go through how many points do you think we get from our next, or our last, should I say, 2 Premier League fixtures. So I'll go around the panel and ask how many points you think we're going to get. Not why, just how many. Man City at home and Sheffield United away are the 2 games. Luke, how many points are you getting out of 6? Obviously, you don't think we're getting anything against City. So what is it, 3 points for you?
Yeah, easy 3 points at Bramall Lane. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, fair enough. Billy?
3 points as well, for sure. Definitely.
3 points. Seb?
I'll go 1 point just to make it interesting. I think if we, I think Sheffield United they might show a bit of fight last home game in the Premier League. So yeah, 1 point.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very positive at all. But with Spurs, you just don't know. Part of me thinks that we draw to City and then thump Sheffield United. I don't know. You just don't know with Spurs.
Typical Spurs will get 6 points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just better than both.
Yeah. Or we not only draw against City, we beat City, then we crumble to Sheffield United unexpectedly. So I think that either way you can look at it.
Oh, we don't get Champions League and Arsenal still win the league. Yeah, that probably would.
Absolutely. Yeah, can you imagine? Oh my goodness, that'd be an absolute disaster. We do not want that at all. Absolutely not. So we will move on to Spurs women firstly. So Billy, I'll come to you first because they lost 4-0 in the Women's FA Cup final. And I want to know if you saw it. And do you think generally, forgetting the game a minute, because I think Man United, different quality. Should we be proud of Robert Villaman and the girls for even getting to the final? Because remember, they did make history doing it.
Yeah, definitely. I did watch the game, and I've been enjoying watching them this season. They've really had a decent season, and they're kind of in a slightly similar position to us, the men's team, because it's the first year of a project, and a project that's generally moving in the right direction. So there's a lot of parallels to the men's team, and I think it's the first time they've ever got to a cup final. I think they're only turned professional in 2007. So yeah, it's a brilliant achievement, and hopefully the start of better things to come. And I actually thought in the first half they were arguably the better team for some spells of that game, and it's just the goal coming right before half time is a real kick in the teeth. But definitely really, really proud, and it's just a great thing for the club to have the women's team make their first ever final, and hopefully the first of many.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Luke, as well, you were Billy in terms of we should be proud, and it will be the first of many, because it's important to remember it's the first year of a project, like with Postecoglou. So what did you think?
Yeah, definitely. And, let's be honest about it. Manchester United are a much better footballing team. They're better players, and they're a better side. There's nothing to be ashamed of with the scoreline. Unfortunately, the curse of Daniel Levy, I think, because he was there, wasn't he? And he was there for a cup final, we lost. But no, look, Spurs play good football as well. Like they play really, really good football, and we're seeing that. Whether it's just a coincidence, I don't know, or whether there is something that is put in place across all of the teams. But there definitely a style of football that's being played across, under 21s. That's being played across the women's team. That's being played in the men's team, and it's really, really good to see. You just got to see the goal that they scored against Arsenal to see how good the football can be. And they did absolutely brilliantly to get there. Watched the semi-final, and then I was watching the final while I was away this weekend. And look, it was great to see. And putting it out there, like before this season, I hadn't really seen much of the women's game, but I really, really, really enjoy what I'm watching, to be honest.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. And Seb, what did you think of the game? And overall, again, should we be proud? Because they did make history. I think it's important to remember.
100%. They gave, obviously, the fans who went looked like a really, really good day out in the sunshine. I think there's lots of positives to take into next season. Reaching a final, obviously, not winning it will be a shame, but they've got a taste of more, and hopefully that will, make them go on and want more next season. I think it has been positive. The football that they play is lovely, like Luke said, and yeah, I think they should definitely be proud. They lost to the better team at the end of the day, but they put up a good fight, and the scoreline, it might have been a bit unfair on them actually on the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think first half showed a lot of fight, a lot of resilience. It didn't help United scoring late in that first half. Second half, I think all it was is United's quality shone through. Nothing a reflection on Spurs. I think the quality from the opposition shone through, the depth they had off the bench. But overall, yeah, very proud of Robert Philemon and those goals in making history.
What a goal, by the way, though, by Anatoon. Sorry.
Like, what a goal. No goalkeeper saving that. It's superb. And that's ultimately why she's in the England team.
You see,
for a reason.
Phil Foden score that, or James Maddison, or anybody who plays in that attacking midfield, or even Lionel Messi, you see him score that goal, and that's shown over and over and over again. The touch, be able to feint to just watch the defender slide by, and then to cut it in the top corner. I thought was absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you. I think that it just hasn't been talked about enough, considering just how good it was. But we will move on to an FPL update in my league and the podcast league. So Sean Holder retains first. It's interesting. It's obviously what we've got a week left. The lead at the top is down to 9. It's down to 9 points. It's very interesting. Rob Perry in second. We've got Mickey Race in third, and then we've got Will Savage in fourth. Really, any of that top 4 are capable of winning, with Tommy C up to 5th, Mark Sweeney falling to 6th. And the rest kind of stay the same, with Liam in 7th, Alfred in 8th, Lewis Godfrey in 9th, Andrew Davis in 10th, Sullivan up to 11th, Tom Carr falling to 12th, got Matthew up to 13th, and all the way down, Luca Fagna as well falling down to 15th. We've got AK as well, 14th. So that is the top 15 of the league. I'm slowly climbing up. Where am I? Let's find the other page. 90, okay. So getting there eventually. Started in the late 90s. So we're getting there. Slow progress. So there we go. Luke, how you doing with FPL?
Yeah, I'm not doing too badly. The thing is with me is that I definitely lose interest after a while. I start, first few weeks of the season tinkering, and then I just forget. Just forget when the deadline is, forget to change my team. I just end up just putting Haaland and put him as captain, and then just kind of leave it for the rest of the season and just tinker with whoever else comes in and out.
Yeah. Billy, Seb, do either of you play FPL?
Yeah, I do. I only started getting into it this season. I normally do exactly the same. I just used to always
same.
Captain Kane, and that was about it. That was my only tactic for about 5 years. Now, yeah, I'm doing all right this year. So yeah, I'll definitely join the league next season for sure.
Yeah, fantastic. We'll send a link or code if you like your way. So that'd be absolutely fantastic. And Seb, do you do FPL or anything equivalent to that?
I was the same. I was just Captain Kane for years, and I was a bit lost without that this season. Yeah, I'm used to that as well. I'm currently sat at 6.6 millionth in the world, so yeah, not doing too well. This is the first time I checked in months, probably. So
where'd you find out where you are in the world, though?
It tells you like
overall. Yeah, it's like if you click on the middle one, the fantasy.
Oh right,
yeah,
that's 5 million and something. I think. Not regular with my numbers, but yeah.
The overall 1.88 million. We'll take that.
And 1.7 million.
5.3. It's because of my transfers. I made hundreds of points in transfers because I knew it took away from the points, but I couldn't see it taken away. I was like, that's the same score as I said earlier. So I kept going, and then eventually I got this thing come through. I didn't know they sent you emails if you do things like that too much. I got an email through said, "Did you know you spent over 200 on transfers?" I was like, "Oh no!" So there's been a bit of a backlog, I think, since Christmas, and I've been kind of catching up with my Luke in the pod league as well. But need a few more games. That is what it is. For Spurs' sake, I'm happy that we just get through to the end of the season. We have one question in the chat from Barney before we do wrap up, so I'll bring it up. He says, if you fail to get fourth next season, would that be on the grounds and then start to think of a new manager? So he's basically saying, is Champions League, it's a bold thinking even about next season, but Champions League, is it a minimum requirement? Is it for you, Luke?
I don't want to be too hesitant on a manager like this. I think, under a checkbook manager, then potentially you could be looking at that. We have to look to improve, and I don't think he'd be happy himself with finishing any lower than what we finished this season. He wants to see progression in his team and in himself. So I don't think you would get rid of the manager, no. But I think that we should be looking to progress. I think we need to be realistic on where that progression lies. And if it's fifth this season, it's anywhere higher than fifth, fourth, third would be great. And then push on from there. I don't think you can go, we finished fifth this season, we should win the league next season. But, as Ange Postecoglou says, you've got to want to achieve it, right? And it's got to be in your train of thought. Otherwise, what's the point in even trying?
Yeah, fair enough. Seb, where do you stand with Barney on this? So with Postecoglou, let's just say I'll put one out here. Let's say for fifth or sixth. Will he deserve? Obviously, it depends, doesn't it, on how we're playing and latter competition. So it is quite hard. But is it a minimum requirement for you next season?
This is exactly what I was going to say. The context is so important. We don't know how next season's going to look. We don't know how we'll be doing in the cups. I don't like setting these kind of, we must get fourth, otherwise it's a failure, because everyone will know the context surrounding next season, how we do, you'll judge it from that. And I mean, you'd like to expect that we push on to make Champions League, but then you look at a lot of other teams like Chelsea and Manchester United might be back if they get a new manager and stuff. So we don't know who we'll be competing with as well. So yeah, I mean, I'd like to think we will get Champions League football, but context will be important, and we'll see where we are next season. But Ange is the man for me for a couple of years to come, unless something drastic changes.
Yeah, absolutely. Billy, where do you think, for you with Postecoglou at the moment? Obviously, it hasn't been, forgetting Burnley the last few weeks, it hasn't been what we wanted to see, but do you still see it kind of working out? And is Champions League a minimum requirement for you next season?
Yeah, I do still see it working out, and Champions League is not really a requirement for me. I'm bored of just getting rid of managers every time we don't finish in the top four. It's not helping us progress the club at all. So as long as we're progressing, there's a clear direction of play next season. I would love to win a trophy. I'm not really too fussed about top four. It's not really something that I particularly care about that much. Should be great for the club financially and stuff, but I'd rather be, as Postecoglou himself says, I'd rather be in a position to continually win trophies. So if we're looking more like doing that next season, then maybe more like that season after that. That's all I really care about, to be honest.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I think a lot of people will be with you in terms of, for me, we probably need to be inside the top four, but I'm not going to kind of say, set a kind of barrier in terms of top four. If you don't achieve it, then you're gone, because we could start really badly, but turn it around and really turn the corner. Look at someone like Chelsea, and I don't like to use them as an example, but I think they've turned the corner. Let's say they win their final two. then for me it'd be crazy to get rid of Pochettino, because overall, okay, they haven't finished inside the top 4. They thought they would at the start of the year, but they've turned a corner. It's not always about where you are; it's about what you're seeing on and off the pitch. So yeah, absolutely. We'd probably expect it, to be in that top 4, but if we're not, it's not the end of the world. As long as we fight, to I want to say latter stage of the competition, but further than we've got this year, for example. So we see a visible progress, because I think Luke summed it up in a post, a few days ago very well, in terms of we all would have taken 5th at the start of the year. We're all experienced meltdown the last few weeks, but overall we all would have taken 5th. 5th place pretty much secure. Been in a top 4 battle, right until the very end. So I think overall it's quite impressive. But last thing I will do before we wrap up, I want to know where you think we're finished, because it looks like it will be 5th. But I want to see if there's any different opinions in there, because some people might think we might lose them both and somehow finish 6th or 7th, or maybe Villa, because they're losing at the moment, maybe pinch their spot. But Billy, where are we going to finish? Is it 5th, or is it something else for you?
5th, yeah, I think it'll be 5th.
5th?
Yeah, I think 5th. I don't think we'll win tomorrow.
No, it's very unlikely. Seb, what are you thinking?
Yeah, hard to see past 5th. Something drastic would have to happen for us to finish any higher or lower than that. So yeah, 5th for me.
Absolutely, and that's a clear sign of progress in terms of the way we're playing and getting back into Europe in a manager's first season when they lost their best player. You listen to someone like Paul Merson, then we were going to finish 17th. So, it's a good job we don't listen to people like that. And, ultimately, we've delivered this season. Okay, it hasn't been perfect, it hasn't been rosy, but overall, for me, it's been a good season with progression. And it's totally new team as well. That's what people say, it's a mentality issue when we lose games. It's not, because it's a completely new set of players, a completely new manager. Luke, I get the feeling that for you it's 5th either way. Can you see any dramatic case scenario that it won't be?
No, I don't think so. I think that 5th is a really, really good season. I think at the start of the season I did say we would finish 5th, but again, that was pretty much me being optimistic and kind of just shooting for the stars, to be honest. But it's nice when it comes to fruition. I think actually, we can be happy, really, really happy, right? Really happy. But in some regards, can be a little bit aggrieved that actually it could have been a lot easier. It could have been top 4 Raptors for us earlier, to be honest. If we'd have beaten some of the teams we should have beaten, if we've got some of the results that we should have done, performed better in some other games. So when you look at it in that regard, then actually there's a lot to be happy about and a lot to look forward to next season. But I think we have a lot of work to do transfer-wise as well, which I haven't said for a few years.
No, absolutely. There is, in terms of squad depth and giving Postecoglou that backing. I think this 11's great, but it's about added depth and competition. But I do think that kind of wraps us up nicely for today's show. So thank you very much to everyone who listened, whether it be Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube. But don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Even if you are listening on a podcast platform, pause the episode and head over to YouTube, search Scarfy Spurs, and do smash that subscribe button to get to 2K is the next aim. So thank you very much for that. If you are listening, as I said, on a podcast platform, please do drop us a follow and a 5-star review. It all helps the content grow and improve. Thank you very much. And the shows will continue throughout the summer. We've got one more for the end of the season. They will continue every week. And we'll be covering the Euros as well, Spurs pre-season games as well, and transfer news as and when they come. Might do something special for deadline day as well. It was a long way away, so worry about that when we get a bit nearer. But also thanks to my panel today, who've been absolutely fantastic. Firstly, Billy, stepping in, a bit last minute if you like. So where can people find you?
Just Billie T on Twitter, yeah, man, and definitely not at the game tomorrow, that's for sure.
No, me neither. Absolutely not. I couldn't make it anyway, but it just feel odd, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
More than anything, and I've always watched this. It's been about, I'd say, 2 or 3 years since there's been a game that I missed from Tottenham, in terms of either haven't seen the game live or in person or on TV or watched the highlights after. But this might be one of them. I don't know what to do. I just wanted to get it over and done with. I'll probably be there, but I don't know what. Because it's Spurs score. How do you not celebrate? I need some more thinking time. I've already had all week, but I just need absolutely longer. Luke, thank you very much for coming on. You don't come on a lot. I know you're busy, so thank you very much for coming on. Where can people find you and talk to people about Park Lane Podcast and our announcement in the last 10 minutes?
Yeah, exactly. No, so yeah, Harry has been a regular on our Sunday show for the last year and a half or so, but now he'll be stepping away for next season and having his own show on a Friday night. Friday nights, 8 p.m. will be Scarfy Prem Talk, where we'll be talking all things Premier League, You have guests on every week, and so really happy to keep you on there. And yeah, look, we're all Spurs fans, right? So first of all, make sure you follow everybody on this show. Everyone that's been on it across all social media, make sure you go and follow them. And then if you've still got time, go over to Park Lane Podcast on all social media and give us a follow as well.
Love it. Thank you very much, Luke. Once again, make sure to do exactly that and follow all the guys. Ultimately, that is the all important thing, all delivering amazing content. Seb, thank you very much for coming on. Your first time for coming on. I hope you did enjoy that. Where can people find you? Because obviously I know you're quite big on TikTok. So talk to me about that and how that's going.
Yeah, TikTok, Seb on Football is going well. Thanks for that. Yeah, Twitter as well. I'm trying to tweet a lot more now. Struggling with that, keep forgetting, but yeah, on there as well. And all. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. And obviously, nice to meet you boys and chat with all of you. So yeah, thanks very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much again. Thank you very much, guys. So that does wrap us up nicely for today's show. So as always, come on you Spurs. Maybe different in this scenario, but we will go for it now for now anyway, since we always do it. Up the Spurs.
Working as a manager at Celtic Park when we met you. We picked you out, you shook us up and turned us around. You've turned us into something new. And Postecoglou, you know that we believe it when you say you're gonna change it. And Postecoglou, we're the mighty Tottenham and nobody's gonna stop them. Oh, we look so fine in blue and lily white. And then he said to me, I'm from a land down under. Postecoglou, baby. Postecoglou, oh. Postecoglou, baby. Postecoglou, oh. Postecoglou, baby. Postecoglou, oh. Postecoglou, baby. Postecoglou,